Hi, Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net. It is Monday the 18th of March. Thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. Remember, we kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen here. It's by you coming back and visiting the site, using the chart, using the adverts. That's what keeps us free of charge. So thank you for doing that. Got a question mark over what happens into next week and towards the end of the month. This is the mean of the 500 millibar flow for the next 7 to 10 days, and this ends next Thursday. And we've got the ECMWF on the left here. We've got the GFS on the right, and both of them are fairly similar. Got this strong jet stream coming across the Atlantic look here on both the ECMWF and on the GFS. What it does, just on the eastern side of the jet here, look, it's pumping this ridge northwards. So we've got warm air building here, and that pumps this ridge that you can see here, this kink that you can see in the contour lines there. It built in the height lines, it builds those northwards and tends to build a ridge back in through here. Now, what that could do is prevent these milder winds coming back in from the Atlantic. We build a block here across here, and effectively what then happens is that these winds come up against this and slip back down to the south, creating a trough across here, across Europe, and high pressure here with an easterly flow kicking in once again. And that would be towards the end of next week. So that would take us, where would that be? That would be up to sort of the 28th, 29th. However, that's not necessarily what the models are trying to show. Well, it's not what all the models are trying to show. This is, so you see my problem, this is the MJO forecast, the Madden-Julian oscillation forecast. This is from the ECMWF, and this goes forward to the 15th of April. Now, if we just work backwards from the end date, and the forecast is this green line in here, and each of these black dots represents a day. So if we go backwards, we've got the 15th, 14th, 13th, all the way back here. We go into phase 3 on around the 1st of April. Now, phase 3 of the MJO normally brings about, after about 6 days of going into phase 3, strong westerly winds across the Atlantic, positive North Atlantic oscillation, and periods of rain and unsettled weather, which would take us about the 7th or the 8th of April before that began. Prior to that, you get a transition period where the weather is very messy. Now, the problem is it's a very weak MJO. You see it nearer the centre circle here, which is showing us that it's quite a weak affair. But it is a little bit stronger than it's been showing over the last few days. So the MJO certainly coming round into phase 1 and into phase 2. Phase 1 typically is a negative North Atlantic oscillation, which of course is what we've had for the last few days. Phase 2 is this transition into phase 3. And to me, this is giving us some sort of better guide as to conditions, because that would mean that we stay in these cooler conditions that we've got coming up for a wee while. We go more unsettled, and we do tend towards the milder for a time at the end of this week, but then we go cool into next week. Then we go into this messy transition period at the end of the month, and then early part of April probably is dry before we go wetter on about the 6th or the 7th. So you see the difficulties that we've got. This is the CFS forecasts. Now, these do jump around a little bit, so you do have to sort of treat them with a little bit of a pinch of salt. But this is the mean of the 500 millibar flow. And you see here week 1, 17th to the 23rd, which is this week. We've got blue colours there, which means that the heights are well below normal for the time of year, which is exactly what we've got. Into week 2, 24th to the 30th. Now, on this chart here, it's showing the jet coming across the Atlantic here, across the UK. Look, we're still blocked out towards the north, got higher pressure down towards the south. This would be more unsettled conditions during that week. If we go into week 3, look, week 3 from the 30th of March to the 6th of April has the jet stream in the Atlantic, brings it across or lower the normal height. So the stronger the normal jet stream brings it across Ireland and into the northern parts of Scotland, maintaining unsettled conditions. But what it tries to do is to get this ridge to try and come a little bit further north, which hints at more southern areas being dry. But look, this is this big ridge building here out over the west of Scandinavia and over Russia. So it kind of does try and pick up on that. And then that ridge gets squeezed back eastwards, and it tries to build high pressure in for week 4 from the 7th to the 13th. And what that then does is it brings periods of rain into the south of the country, but it keeps the north dry, but all areas cool once again. So I'm trying to pick out a story from this, but it's very, very difficult to pin down on the detail as to what's going to happen. I think we still need to work on the idea of the very end of the month and the early part of April being drier, and then breaking down middle part of April. But that's not what the long-range models, excuse me, the JMA and the Korean are necessarily showing, or for that matter, the UK Met Office model. They're far more along these lines of just leaving high pressure in through April. So big question marks over what happens. But let's get back to what we do know a little bit more about, or what we should know a little bit more about, the shorter range. So this is the chart from 6 o'clock this morning. We've got low pressure centred here across the south of the country. You see this flow of easterly winds, this bringing rain, sleet and snow within this area. Now, as the sequence progresses, you'll notice there that low pressure stays with us right the way through this afternoon, into tonight and into Tuesday. Still got this feed of easterly winds coming onto these eastern coasts, affecting northeast England and eastern Scotland. Elsewhere, though, it looks like scattered heavy showers and some bright spells for Tuesday afternoon. Still quite breezy across these northern areas, and feeling cold here too. So this is kind of the colder air up here. This is the milder air down here, excuse my writing, that we've got down to the south. Now, little changes again overnight into Wednesday. Still got low pressure in control, although eventually that clears away through Wednesday. We've got high pressure up to the north, causing this easterly flow here, bringing some snow flurries to the east. Lots of cloud around across England and Wales, and perhaps 1 or 2 showers. Feeling cold too. And what we have here with high pressure to the south and the north, low pressure to the west and the east, in here we have what's called a col. And that's a col between 2 areas of high pressure, 2 areas of low pressure. So essentially light winds, could be quite murky in there as well, could be quite a bit of fog around during the course of Wednesday. Then into Thursday, this is the breakdown I was telling you about coming into the west. So for Thursday, we start to get some heavy periods of rain coming across Ireland, southwest England and Wales. Looks as if it should become brighter for much of eastern England, staying dry too. But I think here, eastern Scotland, probably some snow flurries coming off the sea. Still cold there with that flow coming in, but milder air piling in with this rain into the southwest. That rain then tracks its way northwards into Friday. Again, some of it heavy at times, and you can see how it extends across northern England. Heavy rain here and also through Wales, southwest England, parts of Ireland. Less so in the far southeast, but still could be 2 or 3 millimetres down there. But I think we could be looking at 20 to 30 millimetres within these places during the course of Friday. Then into Saturday, still got low pressure in control out towards the west. The more persistent rain will tend to clear away off towards the east through Saturday, and then we find brighter spells and heavy showers coming in to the southwest. Into Sunday, it looks as if the front starts to retreat back southwards again, gets stuck, and within this zone here we're probably going to see some outbreaks of rain. Cold air feeding in from the east. Down towards the south we've still got some outbreaks of rain running up through the channel. Generally quite a cloudy day. Mild to the south, but this colder stuff here towards the north and the east. And then hints into next week that the easterly winds, look, managed to get back in. High pressure building again up here towards the north. That's our high coming in. This is the low bringing rain up into Ireland through the 26th, 27th, 28th period. And milder conditions out here. However, what that southerly flow does is it continues to build the heights above here. So our heights are building, and you saw that ridge that builds up here. And what that does is it tends to build the pressure. So that's where we think that high pressure is going to come from. So if we just pick up on the ensemble and just take a quick look at how that sees things from the 25th onwards. Look, here's our ridge building in, okay? So you'll see that ridge, there it is, look, building through. It can't really get that far north because it's still coming up against cold air here. But what it can do is it can push up against it. It can strengthen the jet coming down into here, and it can lower the heights over here. So this is this ridge coming in, and I'm still of the opinion that ridge will try to get in. I think Ireland and Western Scotland, perhaps the far southwest and West Wales, might be wet because of rain coming through, but I still think that ridge is going to try and make some progress into the country. It just seems to be a pattern that's on there to me. Now, do we get any backup from anywhere else? Well, this is the ECMWF for the 28th. Let's just show you the, actually, first of all, let's just get back to the ensemble for the 28th. There we are, midnight on the 28th. Okay, jet stream is through here. Okay, low pressure out toward the west. Look at the ECMWF for the same date. Jet stream is through here. It's because of the better resolution of the ECMWF, you can pick things out. It certainly makes these lows out towards the west deeper. Got a left exit region here of the jet stream, and that's always a development zone for low pressure. So the ECMWF certainly goes into more unsettled conditions. The GEM, the Canadian, again, jet stream is through here. Look, doesn't have the resolution of the ECMWF, but it still keeps the deep low out towards the west. So again, it brings in more unsettling conditions, but it tries to build this ridge in. And that's what the ECMWF tries to do as well. It's just got the ridge further westward. So there are the hints there of this ridge getting in. And I keep banging on about this ridge. I know, I'm blue in the face. I know you're probably fed up with me talking about it. I think we've got really low confidence in what happens at the end of the month, the early part of April, but I'm still favouring this idea of the ridge getting in and conditions turning drier for most for the early part of April. Not necessarily warm, but drier into the early part of April. Well, we'll see what tomorrow brings, but for now, hopefully that's been useful for you. Thanks again for watching. Remember, we're kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen here. It's by you coming back, using the site, that's what keeps us free of charge. So thank you for doing that, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.